Team coverage now takes us to Norfolk. The masters of disaster are headed south. Local Red Cross volunteers are stepping up in the aftermath of Hurricane Michael.
Right now, those volunteers are on their way to Florida, and they're bringing with them critical supplies and valuable experience. 13 News Now reporter Chanu Hurd joins us with the effort underway at this hour.
Yeah, David and Regina, right now, some Red Cross volunteers locally did go to help with Hurricane Florence, but right now, some of them have been sent to Florida to help after Hurricane Michael hit. Hurricane Michael made landfall Wednesday, the historic storm slamming Florida by the afternoon. Governor Rick Scott says at least 192,000 homes and businesses are without power and others waiting for rescue crews. With all the damage, local Red Cross volunteers are headed south to help.
We had about a dozen deployed yesterday and today, and we've got about 10 more set to deploy in the next coming days.
But that's not all. Kevin Gadosh with the Red Cross says they've got more people on deck.
Eventually, based on the need, we'll respond in kind to whatever volunteer needs that they're called on.
And the needs can range for the volunteers.
They'll be distributing food. They'll be helping with shelter operations. There'll be disaster mental health workers counseling with victims.
Even with dozens of local volunteers headed to Florida, there still will be plenty of help locally should Hampton Roads need volunteers.
There'll be enough volunteers locally to handle any kind of local disasters that may happen in that either may come of a result of the damage or the effects that we feel.
Now, the Red Cross says if you'd like to volunteer or make any financial donations, you can visit their website. In Norfolk, Chanu Hurd, 13 News Now.